Raja's workers 1,000 years ago shape and carve this immensely hard stone using only primitive tools? The main business of this resort town just south of Madras is sculpting granite. This statue of Hanuman, the monkey god, will take a sculptor and his team of 10 men more than 6 months to complete. These sculptors have the benefit of steel tools. In the 9th century, the only tools available were made of soft iron. It would have taken many years for a statue like this to be carved. So this carved rock face must have taken decades. Known locally as Arjuna's penance, this granite carving tells a universal story. See this holy man standing in the burning sun on one leg, with his hands in the air performing a penance? The artists clearly had a sense of humor, though. At the bottom of the wall is a little cat, holding the same difficult pose. Some mice, impressed by his piety, have come to worship him as a saint. One even has his paws clasped in prayer. Every Indian knows what happens next. The cat eats the mice. The sculptor is warning of the dangers of false prophets. Iron tools might have been fine for sculpting, but how did these ancient craftsmen quarry the hardest stone in the world? Today, even a diamond-tipped circular saw and countless gallons of water will take hours to cut through this block of granite. Looking around, you can see clues to how this would have been done 1,000 years ago. Once he had decided which segment of stone he wanted to quarry, the stonemason used a small iron chisel to hollow out rows of little pockets in the granite. Then he hammered wooden blocks firmly into the holes and poured water over them. The wood would then slowly swell until the granite split. That's how Raja quarried stone for his temples. During Raja's lifetime, millions and millions of tons of granite were cut and transported, because Tanjore was only one of the many temples he and his family built. Raja moved enough granite to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. What was the driving force behind this building frenzy? Religion. You see, as a king, Raja was in a terrible bind. On the one hand, his religion told him not to kill, but on the other, as a successful king, he was supposed to make war on his neighbors. And so he was responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of his enemies. He firmly believed in reincarnation, and that his actions in this life would determine his luck in the next life. So given the blood on his hands, he might come back as a worm, or even worse. That's why in the painting of Raja in the secret passage of the great temple at Tanjore, the greatest warrior that India ever produced is shown paying respect to his elderly guru. The holy man held the key to Raja's salvation. He knew that Raja had to build more temples in order to ensure a good reincarnation. So the man responsible for the spiritual health of the king was painted in front of the great Raja. Even for a king as rich as Raja the Great, building a new temple was an expensive operation. It wasn't just the building, it was the upkeep. An Indian temple employs thousands of people. For centuries, here at Sri Rangam Temple, men have been selected from special families to pick and prepare the garlands of flowers for the gods of the temple. "58-year-old Ramanuja can never marry and must maintain a vow of silence as he prepares garlands for the gods. Every day he rises before dawn to start picking the many sacred flowers. String is strictly forbidden, so he uses fiber from dried banana trees to tie the garlands together. Up to 40 garlands a day for 20 gods and saints are produced in this little room, which no one except Ramanuja and the other garland makers can enter. Five times a day, Ramanuja walks from the flower gardens belonging to the temple, past shops selling everything from butter to bronze. It's a huge, bustling city of 50,000 people, and all of them depend on the temple for their livelihood. Ramanuja is part of a team of several hundred people who maintain the temple and its rituals. And in Rajaraja's day, the king paid for the whole thing. At the end of his journey in the heart of the temple, Ramanuja hands over his garlands to the priests. So that the many gods of India can be properly cared for. In his lifetime, Rajaraja's great temple at Tanjore was a hive of activity. A temple this big needs hundreds of people to run it. Inscriptions tell us that over 4,000 cows, 7,000 sheep, and 30 buffalo were needed to supply the butter for the hundreds of lamps that lit the temple. It must have been a blazingly bright place. And all this was to light only one temple. Rajaraja provided for hundreds of temples that he created, spending fabulous sums of money to ensure that he kept his karma in good standing. Because of his generosity, Rajaraja hoped the gods would overlook his many transgressions and be persuaded to reincarnate him in his next life as something a little better than a worm. This religious devotion led to an event that radically changed the entire course of all human history. One of the best-kept secrets of the lost temples of India is that Indian kings like Rajaraja were as important to world civilization as the ancient Greeks. Indian traders rode the monsoon winds to Southeast Asia and beyond, bringing their gods, art, and architecture. That's why, thousands of miles from Mother India, amidst steaming tropical jungles, the temples of Angkor depict not Cambodian gods, but the gods of India, dancing on every wall. Not only did the traders bring new religions to distant parts of Asia, they also carried with them some of the greatest art ever created, the incomparable religious art of India.